Chapter 27. Origins of the Last Dragonborn. My name is Ragni. I'm just another ordinary Nord going out into the world to seek adventure. I'm only 19 winters old. I thought to myself I was wasting my life staying at home tending crops or feeding the chickens. I needed to go out into Skyrim and find meaning. I seek freedom, and to leave my name as something people will remember, even write songs about. I'm not heading out into the wilds unprepared. My father trained me how to survive when I was a little girl. He taught me how to fight. My father was a Nord who fought in the Great War against the Elves. That's where he met my mother. Both of them were Cyrodiilic Nords. My mother was a priestess of Talos in the Great Chapel of Bruma. My father grew up in a city called Kvatch. They got married in the war. And when the war was over, the Empire had to outlaw Talos because of the Dominion. The Empire offered the Nords gold or land to ease their anger. All the good that did. But my father lied and said he was from Skyrim to get my mother out of Cyrodiil because of the Thalmor. Because worshippers of Talos were now being hunted if they didn't agree with the laws. My father took land in Hjalmarch, right beside the Drakmir Marsh. My parents didn't know anything about Skyrim's lands. They ended up taking a rather dangerous spot of land. But it was quiet and out of the road from any elves. And it was theirs. It was their chance for peace. This was where I'd grow up, in the home they built together. They were only young when they left their homes to start anew in Skyrim. Only a little older than I am now. But they were in love and wanted a new life. One with no war and only love. My parents had no idea how to build a home. One was a priestess and the other a soldier. But they made it work. All they wanted was to start a family and bring life into the world. And that's where I came along. As soon as they had completed their home, I was on the way. They both knew they needed to make their home bigger if they were to start a family. As soon as they knew, they started making their home bigger. They told me they spent every bit of sunlight they could making our home. Mother helped until she couldn't no longer, because of me. Father would tease her that she became the water girl. Now skip 10 years and the house is built, and right after I was born, my little sister Lisra followed. We'd spend most of our days with Mother. I looked more like our mother, where Lisra looked more like father. Our father would become a mercenary to afford all that we had. He would travel the roads and use what the Legion taught him to make gold. He was gone for weeks at a time. Mother would always say he would make it back to us no matter what. And he always did. Me and Lisra would learn to play music while he was gone. And when he returned, he'd always be so happy to hear us, even if we sounded like horkers. I remember always trying to get Father's war stories from him, but he'd only ever tell me that war is evil, that it's a place of darkness nobody should seek. But now it's time for me to make my own stories. He told me if I was to ever go out into Skyrim, to not join the war. He remarked that both sides were right, but also wrong. I don't understand that, but I guess I'll find out for myself. On one hand, the Empire lets elves hunt and kill people like my mother. On the other hand, my parents were from the Empire and Father served in the Legion. I don't know what side I see myself agreeing with. But to start my adventure, I'll begin with Morthal. It's not so far from home, and I used to love coming here with Mother to sell food to the inn. I used to love its grand walls. On one side was the haunted marsh, and on the other safety. Being a little girl that lived on a farm, this place always looked so big. I would visit the inn and book a bed since it was late already, when I noticed that house had burned down. That must have been the smoke I saw a week ago. I hope nobody was inside there when it caught fire. I went to check it out. When I walked through the doors, I felt cold. Not Skyrim cold, but like my soul was freezing. I don't know how to really explain it. It kind of felt like I was being watched. But I looked around. The only thing looking at me was a raven. The place didn't feel natural. Something wasn't right. I better head to the inn and get a bed for the night and ask around about this place. Another strange feeling came to me the closer I got to the inn. Not like the burned down house, but something different. It was coming from that woman staring at me. It was like we both felt the same thing by the way she was looking at me. There was something odd about her. Something gave me a feeling like she was a shield to the darkness.
Running an inn weren't my plan, but Follian decided to move here, so I joined him. Hrogar's house? It burned down not too long ago. It's a real pity about his wife and kid. The screams woke half the town. Most folk won't go near it now for fear it's cursed. Hrogar claims it was a hearth fire. Some folks say Hrogar started it himself. That's what they say. See, he's living with Alva now. That started the day after the fire. It ain't right moving in with a new love the day after your kin die like that. Aye. Our Jarl would sure like to know if he did, though. Might even pay to find out.
I was on my way to the Jarl to ask if I could help with Hrogar's house. If this man really did kill his wife and child, I'll make sure he pays for it.
Thank you.
Hrogar's house fire? Well, he lost his wife and daughter in the blaze. My people believe it to be cursed now. Who am I to gainsay them? Hrogar blames his wife for spilling bear fat in the fire. Many folk think he set the fire himself. Lust can make a man do the unthinkable. The ashes were still warm when he pledged himself to Alva. On rumor and gossip? No. But you, a stranger, might find the truth for us. Sift through the ashes that others are too fearful to touch. See what they tell you. Should you prove him guilty or innocent, I will reward you. Hrogar's fate is in your hands.
It was getting late. I got so wrapped up in this house being burned down that I forgot to book a bed for the night. I better go and do that, and unpack. The Jarl gave me permission to find out what happened. I'll go back to the house tonight. I have a feeling that I'll find what I'm looking for when it's dark.
I hear the steward asked you to look into the fire. Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way. Let me know if there's anything else you need.
Those women were still there, like they haven't moved an inch. I don't know why, but I have this strange feeling about them. Or the one in the black armor. It's like I know her, but I've never seen her in my life. I was off to check out the burned-down house during the night. That's when I saw it. A ghost of a child standing at the fireplace. I grew up in a haunted marsh. Saw blue mist in the distance at night. Mother always told us scary stories to keep us away from that place and the evils within. But when I saw that girl, I saw Lysra. That little girl didn't look evil, but like she needed help.
Who's there? Is that you, Father? Helgi, the Father says I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Are you a stranger? The smoke woke me up. I was hot and I was scared, so I hid. Then it got cold and dark. I'm not scared anymore. But I'm lonely. Will you play with me? Okay, let's play hide and seek. You find me and I'll tell you. We have to wait for nighttime though. The other one is playing too, and she can't come out until then. I can't tell you. She might hear me. She's so close. If you can find me first, I can tell you.
Another one? What did she mean? I better go back into the inn and find out where this little girl was buried. I might find her there. And this other one. When I got back, those women were gone. They leave during the freezing night? If the cold won't get them, those that call the night will. This innkeeper knows a lot. Maybe she'll know where Helgi is buried.
There ain't much to offer, but if you want a place dry to spend the night, I'll rent you a room. The poor child is probably begging for us to string up her murdering father. Best tell the Jarl.
She told me where the gravesite was. When I turned around, I saw a woman that sent a shiver down my spine. She didn't look right. She was pale. Not fair skin pale, but snow pale. This was the woman Helgi's father went to after they died. I had a feeling all this was because of her. I knew deep down this Alva was the cause of all of this.
Well, aren't you the pretty one? I bet all the men chase after you.
Now I just had to find Helgi's grave in this darkness. I saw a woman in the darkness. I got closer to see, but she attacked me. She was pale-skinned like Alva. She left me no choice. I had to kill her.
She's dead. He's speared. She's a vampire. She's dead. Leolette is dead. Leolette. I thought she left to join the Stormcloaks. Oh, my poor Leolette. She began to spend a lot of time with Alva. Yet just a week before, she despised her. In fact, the night she disappeared, she was supposed to meet Alva. Alva told me later that she never showed up. I never got to tell her goodbye. You think Alva? But that means... Ye gods! You think Alva is a vampire? No, you're wrong. You must be wrong. Leolette may have met her fate out in the marsh. I refuse to believe Alva had anything to do with this. There is no way you can prove it to the Jarl.
Vampires? I hate vampires. They are disgusting abominations. There's nothing worse than a blood-sucking vampire. Alva was one of them, I just knew it. I went back to the inn to confront her, but she wasn't there. So I went to Alva's house. When I arrived, Hrogar was there. I went to tell him about Alva, that she was the one that killed his family, but he attacked me. I tried to tell him, but when I looked into his eyes, I saw nothing. I had no choice but to kill him. I felt odd. He was the first person I had ever killed. Leolette didn't count. She was a creature and not a person. I felt horrible, because deep down I knew that wasn't really him. He had been bewitched, but it was him or me. I went down into the basement and found a coffin. I knew she was a vampire. Inside, she left her journal, how she met a vampire and fell in love, then became one, and how she enslaved Hrogar and turned Leolette, how she planned on turning all of Morthal into her new lover's blood cows. I would head straight to the Jarl and inform her of Alva and her plans.
Alva? Didn't think she had it in her. I assume you have proof? Can't go making accusations like that without proof. So it's true, the traitorous bitch. Morthal owes you a debt. Here, you were promised a reward for solving the crime, but I need one more favor from you. Morthal is still in danger. The journal mentions Movarth, a master vampire I thought was destroyed a century ago. I'll gather together some able-bodied warriors to clean out Movarth's lair. They'll be waiting outside for you to lead them.
She wanted me to attack the vampire's lair. She'd gather up some fighters and we would burn out the disgusting bloodsuckers. But for me, I wanted these vamps dead more than anybody. I knew these were the vampires that destroyed my life. I knew this Movarths was the one responsible for what happened to my family. Let me explain a little more. Back when I was 10, life was perfect. Father would go into the marsh hunting deer, or cleaning out the walking corpses that got too close to our home. Like I said earlier, Drykmere Marsh is haunted. It's infested with corpses and spiders and vampires. The very last one would become our problem. It was on this fateful day that my family would be destroyed. When Father finally got back, he found vampires feeding off my mother and sister. In a rage, he managed to kill them all. That he found Mother and Lysra dead. It was the worst day of our lives. The people he loved the most were gone. He felt such horrible guilt that he wasn't there to protect us. His soulmate and his little loot were taken from him, and he wasn't there to stop it. He thought the vampires had stolen me. But I was down by the fishnets and horkers picking flowers for Mother when I heard the screams and hid. When I saw Father, I ran straight to him. When he saw me, he was in utter shock. He couldn't believe I was alive. He had held me so tight that I thought he'd never let me go. He vowed that day that he would never let anything happen to me, that he would train me to be strong, so that nothing could ever hurt me. And for the next 9 years, he taught me everything he knew. He taught me how to fight and survive, how to live off of the land. Life wasn't so rosy after that. I was up early training. I was doing drills. My father went from this kind, natured, loving man and turned into a warden. It was rough, and for a time I hated him for it. I was just a little girl that lost her mother and sister. I needed a loving father. But he needed me to be strong, so when something bad came my way, I could defend myself if he wasn't there. But over time, I saw that he loved me, and he knew that he wouldn't be around forever to protect me. We tended to the farm, we trained and sparred. My father lost everything. He was always distant after. The only thing he had left was me, and he was scared of me being left behind and unable to look after myself. So he would spend what time he had making sure I was ready for the world when he was gone. Every so often, we would go out into the marsh and clear out the undead. That was part of my training, facing down the hordes of the undead with Father. But one day we got in above our heads. We went against a bigger force than we should have. Father got hit. We pulled through and slaughtered the undead. Father wasn't feeling too well after that. I said we should head into town for a potion, but he shrugged it off like he was arrow-proof. Days later, I was cooking breakfast, and I heard a loud thud hit the ground. It was Father. That fight with the undead really hurt him. He was so skinny and fragile. He was so cold. If only we got help, we could have stopped all of this. He told me not to leave. He didn't want me risking my life to get him help. But I look back now. I guess he knew his end was near, and just wanted to spend his last moments with me before he went to Mother and Lysra. So I stayed with him. I cooked him food, I washed him, I fed him. I would watch over him when his fever would rise. I could only watch the one person I had left in this world wither away right in front of me. The night that he passed, I fell asleep. It was getting quite late, and I just laid down to get some rest. But when I woke, I had found Father had passed on. I was all alone in the world. Everyone that ever loved me was now dead. I buried him beside Mother and sister. From then on, it was just me. The place became so silent. Once it was full of laughter and songs, but now you couldn't hear a thing. This home was made for a family. Now it didn't have one. Everywhere I looked, I saw memories of the ones I loved. There were days I didn't utter a word. The only time I would talk was where I went to talk to my family at their graves. I would sit there for hours talking to them all. It always brought tears to my eyes when I walked away. To go back inside and to be all alone again. Once was a house of laughter and joy. Now all there was creaks in the wood. The house was full of ghost and old, dead, happy memories. Last night was the last night that I slept in that house. I felt sad and alone being there. The place didn't feel like home anymore. Home isn't a place. It's the people you surround yourself with. What I really needed was to get out, and maybe find my own people. One day start my own family. When I looked at Father's sword, I knew what I needed to do. I needed to leave and go see Skyrim, to explore my country, and maybe along the way I'll find new people that I'll one day call family. But maybe I'll leave places where people will never forget my name. I'd use Father's old armor to protect me. That way I'd take his memory with me wherever I went. I'd use the skills he taught me to carve a path of my own out in the world. I don't know if I'll ever return, or if I do to find it burned down, or somebody else calling it home. But I don't plan on returning here anytime in the near future. In the afternoon, I would set off to Morthal to start this adventure I'm now on. Now back to the matter at hand. The villagers went off to kill Molvar, but I noticed those 2 women from the inn were there. They offered to help me kill these vampires. They told me they were experienced vampire hunters. They said we should wait until morning when the vampire's unnatural strength is gone. Since they were hunters, I'd listen to them. We'd wait until the crack of dawn. That gave me time to get to know them a little. The one in the black armor told me her name was Cecilia, that she has hunted all matters of foul beast for many years. The other one introduced herself as Zarita. She looked at me a little funny like I was food. But she told me vampires had killed her love, and Cecilia saved her, and she decided to join the fight afterwards. This was the cave that those vampires came out of 9 years ago that killed my family. Movarth was the one that ordered it, and he's the one that's going to burn for it.
Let me just take this coin purse off your hands.
When I first saw him, a fire within started to rise. I couldn't control my anger. Every part of my being wanted to slaughter this vampire who has caused me so much pain. I didn't really think it through. I just ran at them. I was lucky to have Cecilia and Zarita there, for my stupidity would have been my end. My weapon did nothing to them. Cecilia and Zarita would make easy work of those vampires. We found Alva, the traitorous bitch that turned her back on her own people and became one of them parasites. Cecilia told me the only real way to kill a vampire is to turn them to ash with fire, or take off their head. So that's what Alva would get, the very same flame that took the rest. Cecilia was a good fighter. She knew how to handle herself. Maybe one day I'll be as great as her. The job was done. Movarth and Alva were put to ash. Morthal was now safe from the threat of vampires, and I was extremely tired from it all.
Mother's calling me. It's time for me to sleep now. I'm so tired. Thank you for making her feel better.
Helgi came to say her farewells and thanked me for bringing her peace. Cecilia said they would remain to make sure every vampire was killed and put to ash. I swear when she was talking it looked like she had fangs. It couldn't be. She didn't look like a vampire. Guess I'm just tired. When I left the cave, I felt like a weight had fallen off of my body, like my family was looking down on me and smiling for avenging them. I felt at peace for once, and I was able to help the people of Morthal from the evil that destroyed my life. It was time to get back to Morthal and deliver the good news to the Jarl. This adventuring is already off to a good start. Day 2, and the people of Morthal won't forget my name.
Tamriel is full of wisdom and magic, if one is willing to look for it. Few have their eyes open. By the 8, I didn't think he could do it. Now maybe we can put all this behind us. Take this as a token of our gratitude.
I had earned a name for myself with the people of Morthal, and some gold to aid in my travels. But first I needed to rest and sleep, and see where the road takes me when I wake. For tomorrow is another adventure, and along the way I might be able to help people.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. My name is Senturos, and this is what I do. I try to tell Skyrim's story in sort of a book or show fashion. I try my very best to keep in tune with what Skyrim feels like, with a few added things here or there to kind of flare it up. But that's kind of just what I do. I try to make Skyrim feel more like a story rather than a game. I do want to say a big thanks to Icarus for putting this video on his channel, because I'm trying to grow the community and he does what I do, and he's a really good fella. I mean, if you've already subscribed to him, then congratulations, you've got a good YouTuber, because he was more than willing to help me with this content on his channel. So a big kudos to him. I've always liked Icarus' content because he just does some crazy stuff and I love it. And he voices his characters at the very start, gives this really cool intro, and then he just plays the game. It's simple but also cinematic in its own way. And I love a lot of his characters. My favourite has to be his there it is, the Bard, the Mora Bard. That was very creative. He does some creative shit, and I think this is his most creative character, the Mora Bard. I really like that one. And I always said I want to put in a quick little mention for his Bog Witch character. You know, it's amazing that his wife helps him voice these characters. It's very beautiful. But yeah, Icarus does some awesome shit, and I love his stuff. It's cinematic, but it's also simple. You know, it's not Michael Bay, but it's still got that unique flair to it, which I really enjoy. And I just want to put that out there for those that are obviously watching this on his channel. He does a lot of good work, and I've always liked his gear. Now, disclaimer, pretty obvious disclaimer, I do use AI to voice his stories, and eventually down the line, some music to kind of add more flair to it. I've got a lot of content, so if you enjoyed Origins, there's a lot before then, and there's a lot after that. I mean, I'm trying to... it was just always an idea to turn Skyrim's mundane game story into something that, you know, revolves around you as the player, to something that befits more of a story to the world and the characters inside of it. And that's what I'm still going for to this day. And I've got over 91 videos, almost cracking 100. But other than that, you'll probably find that at the end screen. Icarus will probably put it up for you. And if he's got anything to say, I'll let him say it right now. If not, I hope to see some of you over my channel. And I hope you guys get to enjoy the stuff that I've been labouring pretty hard at. And again, a big thanks to Icarus for helping me out this one. He's an absolute, you know, he's a good fella, you know. And cheers, mate. Thanks for that one. And I'll catch you guys in another video. Cheers for watching.